This is Insight. Phone lines are open. Dial 384-2191.
Yes, you can. Here on this first Friday in August, we've made a lap here now. We were 1 week into the month of August already. If you're keeping track, and it's getting harder to keep track, as a matter of fact, it seems like, and I've said this many times before, that without the events that happen regularly in the city, Dairy Fest, it's beginning of summer. Hub City Days is the middle of summer, and Fair is the end of summer. And traditionally, not on a calendar, but that's how we think about it. And with all those not being held this year, I don't know what month it is half the time. So, joining me the first Friday of the month from the city of Marshfield is Mayor Bob McManus. Good morning.
Good morning.
We do have a mask policy here at CA for broadcasting.
That's good. Is this coming okay on audio? Because
you can take off one ear.
You can take it off one ear?
That way people who are tuning in on video can see that you're socially conscious.
Oh, okay.
See
I see what
where's
you're saying.
his mask, because
Right.
I know you catch flack for everything.
Right,
So,
yeah.
So I know how it is being in the public eye. So just let it hang there if it's not too distracting for you, and then people can understand that I use it for audio quality here,
Sure.
that you're able to do that. So this... Are things working in the city with your mask policy, or what is the policy?
Well, it's not our mask policy. It's the governor's mask policy, and so you're seeing more and more people abide by it. Certainly when you go into stores that require it, the Festival, Pick and Save, Walmart, Target, Menards, Walgreens, and there are some other smaller ones. Most people adhere to it. Nobody really goes up and asks anybody, do you have asthma, or do you have a breathing condition or something like that? There are still people that are quite upset about it. And so it's a wait and see. It's in effect now until, I believe, September 28th. So it's a mandate there by the state, and we'll have to see what they do.
If you see me out in public, I'll be honest with you, I just forgot. I can't count on one hand how many times I got halfway to the grocery store door and went, darn it, turn around, go back to the car.
Go back to the car.
Pick it up
Happens
again.
all the time.
Because I don't wear it in the vehicle.
Right.
I've got it right there with me all the time when I get out. I want to be conscious about that. I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
It's just that I'm not going to have it on all the time.
Right.
So I walk up to the door, and sometimes I just go, I'm halfway 2 steps in the door already, and what the heck,
Right.
So I guess if you want to challenge me, I'll go out and get it. But otherwise...
Yeah, and there's people out there that believe that their rights are being violated because of it. There are people that have realistic medical conditions. There's people that have anxiety, and when they have a mask on, they're terribly claustrophobic, and it really sends their anxiety, over the top. So people have some real concerns, and so we have to be respectful of everybody's concern. But you see more and more people go in. It's a little weird when you go into a restaurant and you have to wear your mask up to the door, go in, but then when you get seated, you could take your mask off. But walking from the door to the chair, things, idiosyncrasies like that, that's odd. You wonder why, but that is the way that the mandate is written, and so therefore that's what it is. Many times I think when government officials put out certain things, not everything can be thought of, so there is flexibility there. I go in some restaurants and nobody has a mask on, and there's others where everybody does. So it's the preference of that business and what they require.
Sign of the times here, and the city is not getting as I'm shifting gears here as when you talk about people coming in. Now, as we're talking to you here, you may be watching us on 989, your Spectrum Digital tier. It could be as late as a month after this conversation. As we're talking right now, there's 25 ball teams in from outside of the city. Not all of them, but a majority of them, I would say, or at least half, that is bringing revenue in, and we're losing that, from the city to the state to the whatever. The COVID is not just about individuals, but there's a domino effect that happens because there's less traffic on the streets.
less traffic and less traffic going into businesses, and businesses have already been hit very hard. And the great thing about here in Marshfield is we do support our local businesses.
Yes, good morning. I wanted to talk to the mayor before he gets flooded with phone calls today. I was just wondering what's going to happen if everything is canceled for this year and postponed until next year. Now, what happens if they find virus again next year?
Well, Joanne, that is a very, very good question. And we really don't know until next year gets here because, as you've seen, things are changing on a weekly, if not daily basis. So it's too hard to predict where we will be. Keeping everybody safe is obviously the number one thing everybody wants to do. But, there's talk of a vaccine, and I heard yesterday Dr. Fauci said that if the vaccine is 50% good, then he'll be happy. So all of this stuff coming from Washington and down to the state level, the government level, and then down to municipalities, it's a wait and see. So I wish I would be able to tell you the answer to that question, but right now it's a very fluid situation still, and we just have to wait and see.
I see. Because we had a family reunion scheduled for this year, and this was the big one. So now it's rescheduled for next year. So next year, if there's virus found, it'll be canceled again. And I told the people, I says, don't even bother with it.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't, it doesn't pay, because I heard now that this year thing is going to be extended into 2025.
Well, be careful
and
with...
people can't adjust like this.
No.
I have to wear a mask, and there is no way. I feel like I'm suffocating.
Right, and we were just talking about that a bit ago. But,
But I'm not going to get a doctor slip saying that I can't. I'm not going to pay that kind of money.
You don't need to have a doctor slip. And if somebody asks you, you could just say, I have a medical condition, and that's the extent that it goes. And so because that would be overbearing to do that. Now, going to 2025, I'm going to caution you to be careful with all the rumors and everything that you hear. Especially on the national media, they sensationalize everything.
Well, it's not that. I had the swine flu, and I had to work with that, and that was the best. That was the best thing that there was.
Sure.
Open up your windows, get the fresh air.
Right.
And let's put it this way. I'm wrong about everything, and I'm never right about anything. But if they would have found this in, say, 17 going into 18, I would have believed it. But when the swine flu came out, that was the election year. This is also the election year. And to me, this is dirty politics.
And there are a lot of people that share your opinion. And but in the overall scheme of things, to answer your question, we really have to wait and see where this goes and what this does. Fortunately for us here in Marshfield, Wood County has, I believe it's over 280 total, but in the city of Marshfield, there's been a total of 51 people that have had the coronavirus. And right now, there is, and if you go to the Wood County website, I'll tell you, the Wood County Health Department website is simply phenomenal. And they give a daily update on how many people have it, and it can go by municipality. And if you look at our municipality, this was as of yesterday, there was 51 people that have had the virus, and right now there's between 1 and 5 active. So we don't know if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. If you open that up to the Marshfield School District, which would include Hewitt in that area, now it's up to 71 people have had the coronavirus, but it's the same 1 to 5 people that still have it. So for us, that's a very, very good thing. We're doing a good job. Now you can always do better. Now, if you look at our friends to the south, in the south part of Wood County, they've had some issues of late, and they're up in the high 70s, low 80s of the amount of people that have had it, and there's still 45 or so active viruses there. So they're doing a great job to get that under control. But I will tell you, if you go to the Wood County Health District website, It is absolutely phenomenal. And Jeff just pulled it up in here, and it's a great website, and that is our reality. So our infection rate in the overall state of Wisconsin, I believe, is 5.75 or 5.65, and that's down just a hair. It was up in the 9s. It got all the way down to 5%, and then it slowly trickled up, and it's up at about 5.65 now overall. And we saw a little retreat from that yesterday, which is good. So overall, I think in Wood County, we're doing pretty good. In the state, you could see the amount of testing we're doing now is about 17,000 tests per day. But if you look at this,
after the 28th of September, what about the mask?
Well, we don't know. It depends on what government does at that time. So it's a wait and see. That's not put on by the city or the county. That's a state mandate.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, some of these things have to be booked a year ahead of time, and it's not a call-by-call thing. So
right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
384-2191, 384-2192 is our number here. It's so fluid, it's hard to say. From time to time. And she's right. You need to book stuff in advance, I guess, with the caveat that we could cancel this.
Right. And you know what? When I'm out, you see things on media and all over. But when I'm out talking to people, I'm talking to people like Joanne. You heard her. She's complying with everything. But the masks, really, she doesn't like. But she's complying with it. She's had the swine flu in the past. She questions the timing. Being an election year, she dealt with the swine flu. And these are the personal experiences that people have, and we all formulate our opinions based on our experiences and beliefs. So most people in Marshfield are complying with the mask mandate, and just have to see where it goes.
Talking with Mayor Bob McManus this first Friday in the month of August here. If you'd like to join in, 384-2191, 384-2192 on today's show. And coming to you, I'm reminding you here that because you know it if you're listening live, but you may be watching us on, I think we're streaming the program today. If not, it'll be at marshfieldmediaaccess.org. And in the rotation of programming on Channel 989, your Spectrum Digital tier, the government channels. So you're a star on more than one channel here holding the meetings.
There you go.
The mayor always comes up to me and says, "What's your highest rated show?" He's always
right.
giving me a hard time.
It's got to be this one.
It's got to be 10 a.m. on the first Friday of the month, right?
Yep, that is right.
Well, I'm sorry there, Donald, but you're fired. No.
Right.
You don't have the highest rating. I wouldn't know if you did, but it would be nice. 384-2191, 384-2192. Let's try this again. Good morning. You're on the air, Pete.
Good morning, gentlemen. Mayor Bob, I've talked with you a couple times on this show earlier in the year, and it's come to my attention that people think that I was against the aquatic center, and that's just false. I was against tax dollars billed any or all of it. But now that it's done, it's done. We can't do anything about it. But I did take a trip down to the south side of town the other day, and they cut down all the trees. And I'm not an environmentalist by any means, but with an aquatic center and you're going to have people outside and all that, don't you think they needed some shade and, a little bit of nature instead of taking all those trees down, especially that we are a Tree City, USA. So can you explain why they did that?
Well, sure. They needed enough room to put in this aquatic center. If you go to the website and you look at how big this aquatic center is, you need to have a lot of space to do that. And with the study that was done on 12 different places, the best place that they thought would be to have the aquatic center is right where it is. So in order to create the size aquatic center that it's there, you have to have that much room. So there will be shade there, and there will be a huge changing area, a huge meeting area. Of course, all of the 2 different water features that are going to be there, the lazy river. It is really, really going to be impressive. So they are starting on the work on it, and so in order to get that ready to go, of course, they had to take those trees down.
Well, that just seems like a sin to me to take all those trees down. That was just from an uneducated person about this whole plan, because I've never seen it or anything. I would have thought that they should have been able to save some of that for the people who are going to use that.
Sure. Well, you know what? To answer your one question, there have been many presentations on the Aquatic Center. The design of the Aquatic Center has been out for some time. Now there's different features going in and maybe a different swimming lane or something like that. But this plan and the way it looks has really been out and featured and advertised a long time. So I'm sorry that you didn't see that, but certainly it has been out.
Well, no, I'm sure it's been out, but because I was against the tax dollars to do anything with that, which I still believe a private person or group should have done this. Because I don't believe that the city should be in the entertainment business at all, but we are. So we did that, but because of that, I never really cared a lot. I was trying to get the city not to pay, the lion's share, or at least half the share of what's going on down there. And then when I drove by, I thought, holy man, the swimming hole, as I remembered, I knew it was going to be gone, but I certainly didn't think that all those shade trees were going to be gone, and a whole ball of wax.
Well, let me help you with that. We were very when the fundraising committee was first put together. This was supposed to be a 16 to 18 month take to fundraise, and we were able to get just over $3 million. And it's actually, we're up to citizens have given $3.37 million, which is incredibly generous of the people that have done this, from very, very small donations to medium sized to the facility name is now Van de Hey Waters, who gave a very substantial donation. And we are so thankful for everybody that has donated to that, and we respect the fact that they did that. In some places, in most places, municipalities are the ones that fund the entire thing. And so we are so thankful to the citizens and grateful for the donations that they made that were in support of this aquatic center.
Now, I do have one other question or concern about the aquatic center. I have no idea what the size is, but I'm sure the city does have some kind of ordinance or a law or whatever for how many square feet the building or the area is. You need X amount of parking spots. Is that true or not?
Yes, that was to ease your concerns there. Everything went through the Planning Commission, through our building department. I mean, that has been looked at extensively to make sure that it is in compliance. And it made all of our, in Public Works, everything got approved there. Went through Planning Commission, as I stated. Everything has been looked at, analyzed to make sure it is within code.
So they did their due diligence there, but they didn't really do it up at the senior center when they remodeled the old library and put the new library in, where they decided that we needed 3 extra parking spots, so we're going to change one section of the road into a one-way.
Yeah, that was an accommodation for convenience made afterwards, because many of the seniors there actually called me and others over for a meeting, and we wanted to see how we could make it better. And so, which is really nice when people stand up and they come to meetings or invite you to meetings where you can have dialogue and you can make change. So that the adding 2 handicapped parking spots and the 10 or 12 new parking spots out front came as a suggestion from the people that were in there, so more seniors could go enjoy the center.
So you change a whole block of two-way traffic, one-way traffic, for 2 additional parking spots. That doesn't seem very cost efficient.
No. There was the 2 handicap parking spots were in the lot there as it is. The additional ones put out front, I believe that's either 10 or 12, and we felt that this would be very beneficial at the seniors' suggestion, because it will help them get more parking right out front, because our library is very popular and there's a lot of people park in the front parking lot and they're not aware of the one in the back. And so when seniors would have their potlucks, this will make it much easier for them. And the people that actually utilize the seniors center have been so thankful for that.
I have no doubt that that's the fact. My only question, I guess, was how many square foot building that whole building is now, is the parking sufficient before you put that two-way or that one-way street in?
Well, the reason that it was even considered is because there wasn't enough parking there for the seniors, and it would be more beneficial for them right in front. It's less walking for them, and they felt it would be more beneficial. So when it was studied afterwards, it made good sense to do. And again, the people that utilize it are very thankful for it.
Sure, no, I understand that, but I think it's not a correct thing to change a road to utilize for one small section of the city. And I'm a senior too. I mean, I'm a senior, and I have nothing against that, but I just think that that's not really the correct way to be going about it. Anyways, I'm getting a call. I'm at work, so I got to run.
All right, thank you for calling.
Yep, bye.
All right, 384-2191, 384-2192. On today's Inside program, Mayor Bob McManus here this first Friday of the month of August, coming to you on WDLB Radio Live on Rewatch here, a video at marshfieldmediaaccess.org or on 989, your charter digital tier on the cable channels where the government channels are located. It's not all government. 989 is church services to, people can actually submit things if they would like to have them on. And I think you can still take a camera out and
absolutely
produce your own programs.
That's one of the great things of our communication department, is that people can come in and they can check out cameras, they could put programs together and actually get it on our cable access programs. It's great. They'll teach them how to edit, and they'll do all kinds of great things, or come video if people are having performances or something like that. It's a great, great department.
All right, we'll take a break and be back with more here in just a moment.
This is Insight.
1550 WDLB's Inside program here for this first Friday in the month of August, coming to you live on AM 1450 or in rewatch here on video, marshfieldmediaaccess.org. We went through that before we went to break, so we won't belabor it again. Okay, we got the niceties over with now. I brought up a headline that says Mayor McManus subject of criminal investigation. What are you under investigation for?
So it was interesting because it was news to me. But I do know what took place back in April, which was odd, just before I made my recommendations for commissions, committees, and boards. So one of the roles of the mayor is to appoint people to different commissions and committees and boards. And one of them, I was going to appoint somebody who was very well qualified, 35 years as a Marathon County Sheriff, and he's been in management, and just would be great for a police and fire commission. Andy Keogh was on there, and Andy Keogh has been a great police and fire commissioner. And he had served, I believe, 10 years, and it was time for a new commissioner where you could put one on there. And I thought that Dean would be a good one. Well, apparently the Randy Gershman, who is the president of the Police and Fire Commission, and there were other commissioners that weren't happy with the fact that somebody else was being nominated to go on their commission, did an open records request on everything, all my emails, all my phone calls, all my text messages, anything. For quite some time, it was really, it was really bizarre, and they did that right around the time that I was getting ready to make the nomination. So, a little bit of an intimidation tactic, and but any citizen can make an open records request. So be it. Well, I have my city email, I've got my city direct line, I've got my city issued cell phone, and my Mayor Bob McManus Facebook page is administered by the city. So anything that they would want there, they would be able to get. They would be able to see the text log to see who I texted. They wanted to know if I, who it is that I was having discussions with involving police and fire commission. So it was really quite odd. And it was very concerning for me as the mayor to think, you know what happened is I did not have that kind of scuttlebutt with any other commission, board, or committee. It was just this one particular one. And a year ago, a similar thing, I wanted the Police and Fire Commission, who are great people, just a little bit of diversity and maybe a new outlook, and maybe new or different credentials, and that was not taken very well. So, of course, that's a concern for me, and I would think it would be a concern for citizens when people that are on a commission are trying to influence other people to not be on the commission. The Police and Fire Commission is supposed to be an apolitical thing. And what people don't know is so, for instance, the police departments right now nationally, it's all a thing going on. And in most cities, the police and fire department report directly to the mayor and to the common council. Well, we're one of 7 or 8 cities in the state of Wisconsin where we don't have that responsibility. That goes to a police and fire commission, and that is supposed to be apolitical with no political influence. So I don't know why people that are on that committee would be trying to get a hold of aldermen to influence their vote. And I'm vocal about that, and because I'm vocal, and because I stand up for what's right, this open records request came. So, but right now there's, to my knowledge, now as of this morning, I spoke with the city administrator, Steve Barg. There's not been a complaint. I know that there has been discussion in it, and with all that said, and with everything that they do, I still fully support the Police and Fire Commission. I appreciate what they do for the city. I just really question why a request like that would be made, because it just seems like a little bit of an intimidation tactic is the way I take it. There have been mistakes made by the Police and Fire Commission that I've called to their attention, and and everything worked out fine there, but it is what it is. So I really have nothing to hide. I value all 195 of the city employees, all of them. And I have to do, in my mind, what I think is best for every one of them. But, Jeff, to do an open records request because you don't like that one of the people that's on there would be replaced, I just don't understand that. I don't understand it. We have right now in the city, as you know, with the pandemic going on, COVID, the difficulty going on with businesses, and everything else going on right now, I'm dealing for the people with the citizens. If these other people if they want to play these games, let them. Because we're seeing this kind of garbage nationally, right? It's a tear-down world. And, when you get into politics, you better have thick skin. If you want a friend, get a dog.
Well, let's take it from, what's the word they use here, a standpoint. Why, if the person on the commission did nothing wrong, would they need to be replaced?
That is
change for change's sake?
Sometimes change for change's sake is good, especially when there are some things that are questionable that I had a question about. And again, it is the mayor's discretion on who to appoint. Now, the Common Council has to, I can appoint somebody, but they have to approve it. So it's a two-step process there. So it's not like you can do that. And once all of this was done, then I just reappointed Andy Keogh. I wasn't going to put another person through it. A year before, we went through the same thing. And so the Police and Fire Commission, again, great organization. I appreciate what they do. I support them. But I also have no intention of being intimidated.
So where do we go from here now? Is this, investigation?
Well, we don't even know because as of this point, there's been no complaint filed. I would imagine probably one will come. But here again, the city controls my cell phone, so they've got my cell call log. They've got the text, which includes your text logs, so you could see who was being talked to. They'll have the phone numbers that went out. They have all of my emails, and they've sent just a ton of emails over them for them to review. And they administer my Mayor Bob McManus Facebook page. I don't know what else they want to get.
Well, you have Bob McManus.
Right.
And you have Mayor Bob McManus.
Right.
You're, as a figurehead, two different, you have your personal life and
Correct.
your personal, and also and you carry around two phones.
Right.
If somebody calls you and you said, no, I can't talk to you on this phone.
I've done that. I've absolutely done that. And the reason is in the very beginning, when I first got into being mayor, I had no experience being mayor. I just thought you went in and you try to help people and you do some things. And I was able to, one of the things is I wanted to increase communication. Well, we were able to do that, and that caused issue within the city. And then, so as we were we had a committee review ways to do things. We were getting information, and on a couple of them, I used my personal email. I didn't even know that at that time that it was a big deal. So when we got that open records request, I gave them everything. I gave them all my emails that were pertinent to that situation there. And then since then, I learned, just do it on your personal. But I do carry two phones. Got them right here. I've got my personal one that is for me personally, and I've got my city one. And this is, I don't pay for this. This is given to me by the city and administered by the city. So all of my phone calls to who, that log, as well as the text log, would be in the bill that the city has.
As a government official at any level, there is that accountability.
Absolutely.
That they have to know who you're talking to about what. It gets gray when you're a person, and as you said, you kind of walked into this going, well, we'll just, okay, I hit reply. I can't do that. Why didn't you reply to me? You can't send it to me there.
Right.
I can't talk to you about that business there, because if somebody does find out, now we got, did you bleach the server there? I mean, you look at how far it went up on the national and federal level, Right. We can't do that.
Well, and let's get down to what the point is. What would any of that have to do with me appointing somebody new to the Police and Fire Commission
Is that what the open records request said was the impetus for the request?
Anybody that I had dealings with, anybody that gave money to my campaign that would be to do, wanted to know if I had money, if I received money from my last campaign. I was unopposed. I didn't spend any money in this last campaign. I was unopposed. And the bigger question is, why would it matter? What really is, so this is the thing, because then the easy thing to do, Jeff, is there was emails and whatnot going back and forth between, now do we need to look into the commissioner with, well, who were they having dialogue with? Who were they trying to influence to vote a certain way? And why would that even need to be? Because our council members are great people. If they don't like the person that is appointed, then they just say no. And then you go to the next one, or in my case, I just reverted back to the person that was there before, because he is a great guy, Andy Keogh, and he's done very, very well. I thought that the person that I nominated had such a great skill set in understanding police policy, first responders, because that experience that he has would be beneficial for both police and fire. Where you've got somebody there on the commission now with that type of experience who's retired out of that, I think that would be very helpful. And it just didn't appear that was going to go that way, so okay, that's fine.
Well, this is going to sound, as opposed to being devil's advocate, I'm your advocate, meaning how long do we go before we can have a replacement? Are the Supreme Court, they're going to die in office? Or, I mean, if nobody can ever be nominated again,
right,
without some sort of feedback here.
Well, and why would people on the commission be so adamant to only keep certain people on the commission? That's a concern for me. It should be a concern for everybody. This should be now, part of this is there are people that are of the mindset of, in this commission, that it takes a little while to kind of understand the gist of things on policy and whatnot. Of course it does, in anything. My role as mayor, we had aldermen come on this year, and it taken a little while to get into the swing of things, if you will. So it could be done. It could be done. What is our reluctance to get someone with a different frame of mind? That was a concern. So, but again, it was just a nominee, because the Common Council makes a decision. They could just say, yeah, Bob, we appreciate who you nominated, but yeah, we're a big no. So, okay, then you go on to the next one. It doesn't need to be so, because honestly, Jeff, we did not have this much. I do a lot of appointments at that first meeting. I didn't have any other issues with any of the boards or commissions. People make recommendations and whatnot, but you put them on. We appreciate the people that work for us. And Andy is on the, Andy Keogh, great man. Was great at the university, was in there. And Andy Keogh is also on a few different committees within the city. He does a lot of volunteer work. These are all volunteer positions. So everyone appreciates the work that he has done. I certainly do. But the other side of this is right now, this is just the way the world is. Unfortunately, this type of stuff happens, and then it gets sensationalized. And
well, I had to ask you, when it said criminal investigation, I said, okay, this is something that I don't see those words together every day with the city official. So I guess you've explained it as adequately as you can here. So I want to talk to you about some other things that are going to happen here, not necessarily softballs either. We'll talk about that coming up here in a moment on today's Insight program.
This is Insight.
Inside program here for this first Friday in the month. You know that if you're listening live. You could be watching us in video, though, at marshfieldmediaaccess.org, either Facebook or their website, or channel 989 on your Spectrum digital tier. And if you're watching us, I ask the mayor, now CA for Broadcasting has a policy that we do wear masks inside. However, we are an audio medium.
And I did have my mask on when I got here.
And that's why I'm bringing this up, because people who just tuned in going, well, what's that all about? I asked them to take it off for on-air purposes for clarity in audio. We're an audio medium. And today we happen to be video, but other than that, I don't necessarily have any concern about that. So I want to be able to hear you clearly. It's what we do.
Sure.
You know, so I asked him to take it off, and I said, well, just let it hang from your face so that people who tune in know that you're socially conscious anyway, and you're getting credit for being masked up.
Right.
I, on the other hand, have mine in the other room because I knew I would be in here where it wasn't necessary that it impede my speech.
Sure.
So just clearing that up as well, because, you know, in the world today, people will make whatever they can out of something. There is a talk about the possibility of the city, being sued by Walmart? Is that the proper way to put it?
The dark store.
Or is that just a law case, or is it nationwide and you're just part of it, or is it specific?
We're just part of it. It's a dark store theory, and they want their taxes lower, which I understand everybody does.
Now, rather than at a big arching umbrella of the national corporation that they're going after everybody that has an individual municipality that has a store?
Yes.
So as a taxpayer, how much of my money is tied up in legal fees trying to do this dark store?
Well, right now there is. I don't have an exact number for that.
I didn't expect you would.
I don't think at this point there is.
Does
much.
It come under the retainer,
the
or
League
is it
of
just
Municipalities would be helping us out with that? So I will have to get back to you with a number because I don't even want to say.
Well, it irks me, as you said, because I know their profits when you see them on Wall Street, and then to turn around and individually go after small communities one at a time because they know they can't afford to fight it.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of that going on. Channel 12 was sued over politics, and they take the individual broadcaster or individual municipality one at a time because it's not cost effective for them to fight it,
right,
as opposed to what it would cost if they did it on the federal level. So the only other thing, and I heard this last night too, there was a issue with a policeman being dismissed due to a physical fitness test, and that's been a long time running here. Is there any movement on that? Where are we in that situation?
As you're aware, that case is currently in litigation, so I can't comment on that.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
I get it.
Because other people ask you too. So
absolutely, and any time you've got when you are in litigation, you just can't say anything.
On the special meeting tonight of all council, full council special session, is it open to the public or is it closed session?
That's closed session. I believe it says it there on the. I'm not sure, but it should. That it is. We are going into closed session. It opens up with taking a roll call and then going into closed session.
And I know I'm going to ask you, and I know what you're going to say.
Exactly.
What's it about?
What's it about? It's about what you're reading there.
I don't have anything here other than a letter of agreement securing additional legal services.
And that's what it's about. And we really don't know. I mean, that's why this meeting was called, because we don't you typically don't do special meetings on a Friday afternoon of the Common Council. So it is, but we will find out what it's about tonight.
Well, this gets back to my other question about Walmart. As a citizen, we're hiring additional legal counsel. Is my tax money being used here now over and above what's budgeted in order to have the city defend itself against lawsuits?
Correct. It is a very, Jeff, as you know, it's a very litigious world.
Oh, my gosh.
And if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have gone to law school because they're filled, right? And I mean, everything just gets so litigious. Now, this right here, I can't even comment on because we're going to find out what it's about tonight. This is something that is closed session, so we will find out the specifics of what it is we're doing. Other than that, I really don't have anything on that.
The published report in my hand says it's going to be about a letter of agreement securing additional legal services for the city. Mm-hmm. That leaves it pretty wide open as to what I could say a lot of things here that would probably be proven wrong in the time period, and maybe a nothing burger, as we call it nowadays, or it may be...
Well, anytime you see something like that, and anytime you see a special meeting on a Friday, anytime you see a special meeting of the Common Council, that wouldn't just go to... Because our normal Common Council, right, our council agenda just came out for Tuesday. If you have something that, the big question that I have is, can't this wait until Tuesday? It's 3 days.
There you go. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday, so we got to call you in off of your yacht.
Yep, off the big yacht.
And you got to come back here.
Right. Right.
The yacht at
I got to put the oars down.
Yeah. The yacht at the upper pond.
Right. Right. Just me and the geese. But the fact of it is on a Friday afternoon. It's a special meeting. It's obviously something that's very, very important. We just don't know what it is. And they will tell us that. And that I would imagine that leads to the sensitivity of the subject. But I don't even know what the subject is, so...
All right. Well, we'll let you know as soon as it becomes available to us here. And that requires poor Mike to sit down there waiting for everybody to come out of the room and ask him, what happened? And then everybody goes, no comment.
No.
It's like, come on, you can't do this to me.
Well, I mean, you can already prepare the statement, because if we're hiring attorneys, then litigation. So then all we're really going to be able to say is, I'm sorry, we can't talk because... could be, I'm not sure exactly the way that it could be, or it might be, or we're already in litigation, which means we can't talk about it.
Got lawyers talking to lawyers here. That makes my head spin.
That boy, you are preaching to the choir.
All right. One last thing here. I had been told that Aspirus, Marshfield Health Systems, bought their hospital in Wausau, the St. Clair's campus, and all the ancillary buildings and things that go along with that, and now they want to purchase 13 acres north or 14 acres north of town?
That's what I've heard. I've heard of that, but I'm not aware.
Nothing in front of government thus far?
No. Not that I'm aware of, so I want to stress that.
Yeah. It's the 7th of August. By the 8th, you might know more here, but
could be
as you're watching us.
And this is, this is the part about being a public official. Sometimes you say things that you got to be very, very careful with what you say, because a perfect example. Last week, I did a video because there was our last council meeting, Steve Barg said he was going over what we're going to do to make City Hall safer. So he talked about a mask requirement there at City Hall.
Well, that
was
blew up.
Taken out of context to say mask mandate in the city of Marshfield. No, it wasn't. That's not what he was. What are we doing? So I did a review video of that Thursday, clarifying, or no, maybe it was Wednesday, clarifying. It is not what it is. It's to be there. Don't worry. There's not a mask mandate going on in the city of Marshfield. 24 hours later, Jeff, is when the mask mandate came out from the governor. And it's like, okay, the whole video I did yesterday is now moot.
Well, other than it wasn't a city thing.
Right, it wasn't a city thing, but people still, you get bits and pieces. Like the one lady, Joanne, when she said, we're going to be on this till 2025. When you get little bits and pieces, then you can somehow make your own facts.
All right. Well, I hope I didn't bring up a rumor here with Aspirus as opposed to a fact, because there's nothing on the table yet. But it's been said. All right. I appreciate your time here, and you can put your mask back on.
Mask up.
You don't sound like a They're talking through, like, as we say in the world today.
Right. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Mayor Bob McManus, my guest here on this first Friday of the month of August and the first Friday of every month here on the Insight program, live on AM 1450 WDLB. Coming to you in video on Marshfield Media Access, their Facebook page, their website, or on 989 Spectrum Channel.
Your hometown radio station, AM 1450 WDLB Marshfield, a Seahafer broadcasting station.